That's what I'm talking about. Come on, sucker. Let's get it on.
See, no one has balls. No one has the balls to say the real deal. Black word today.
Yes, y'all is the one and only. Get up.
You are born.
Hello, everybody.
Black word today. All right. Had to rewind that. Rewind the show. Hey, people, how you doing? My name is Tim Black. Welcome to Black Word Today. Thank you for joining me. I'd like to say hello to all the people out there on Periscope, Facebook, YouTube, and I'd like to ask you, share this show because, share the show. Share the show. Let people know what we're doing. Let them know. Don't be stingy with the truth. Don't be stingy with the truth. And I guarantee you there will going to be a lot of truth spoken here today. I got to tell you. Before I get into what kind of truth we're going to be talking about, right? I would like to invite you to go to Amazon, pick up my book. It's called Woke. It's called Woke. 5 Things Smart People Wish Hillary Supporters Knew. It's a quick read. It's a fun read. It's an entertaining read. It's an honest read. And it's a true read. So pick that up, because you know what?
Look, man, I ain't falling for no banana in my tailpipe.
Too much bananas in the tailpipe nowadays. Too much. And we got to put an end to that banana in the tailpipe stuff. So, yes. Wow. Okay. I'm feeling pretty good. I mean, I'm fighting a cold, I think. Got the chapped lip thing going on, so I'm not imitating LL Cool J. I just need some lip balm, and I can't go right now. I got to do the show. I'm going to get some later. So, it's not on purpose that I'm doing this. I mean, now I'm doing it on purpose to simulate what I'll be doing. I hope you guys know I do more than just this show. I do Tim Black at Night show. I do No Sellout shows. And I do a show also called, Tim Black at Night show, No Sellouts, and I do a show called Coffee with Tim Black. So that's 3 shows, plus this one. That's 4 shows. I try to tell people I'm the hardest working person in independent media.
Look, man, I ain't falling for no banana in my tailpipe.
Mm-hmm. I try to tell them that, I'm trying to be like Hillary Clinton.
We have to bring them to heel.
That's right. I'm trying to bring them to heel and get rid of all the...
Called super predators.
All the super predators. Okay. I know some people out there don't even know what I'm talking about. Read the book, Woke, on Amazon. All right, so what will today's show be about now that I think most people kind of settled in? I know I'm supposed to start the show at 6. It starts at 6:30, so I'm letting people go, oh, man, he is coming on today. This fool. Yeah, all right, this brother here. Let me go check him out. Today we're going to cover at least 4 topics. We're going to cover the movie Black Panther. Yeah, we got to talk about the Black Panther movie. We need to talk about Trump's statements about black unemployment. We got to talk about that. Black unemployment. We also need to talk about voter suppression. A very important court case is being heard right now about voter suppression in Ohio, and it has far-reaching ramifications to the rest of the country. So we will definitely have to get to that. But before any of that, I'd like to start with this story. Tough story to do. It's the story of this young man here. Brother of North Little Rock, teen shot, killed during traffic stop, speaks before a vigil. Now, this young man that you see here, his name is Charles Smith Jr. He was riding in a car. Okay, let me just go from the top. This young man is no longer with us, no longer alive. When Juwan Jordan was riding in the car with his younger brother, C.J. Smith, and that's Charles Smith Jr., and a friend on Sunday morning, they were pulled over by North Little Rock police at 52nd in Camp Robinson. Jordan says everyone was asked to get out of the car. Everything was fine. I gotta really learn. Everything was fine. He was asked to get out of the car. Everything was going smooth until they got to CJ, said Jordan. Jordan says there were multiple officers at the scene and Smith was searched. All three of the men grabbed him, said Jordan. They said he resisted, but he wasn't moving. He was talking. He wasn't doing anything. The 21-year-old continued to describe what happened. They were tussling him to the ground, said Jordan. When they were on the ground, one of them jumped up off of him and one shot went off. And he was like, he got a gun. At that point, Jordan says he heard the gunshots. He just shot him 5 times, said Jordan. He couldn't move. He couldn't do nothing. He had 3 officers on top of him, so how was he moving? Jordan says officers told them they were stopped because of broken lights on the car. When y'all stopped us, y'all never looked at no lights, said Jordan. If it was the light, don't y'all walk around and be like, this is the light? They didn't do none of that. They just pulled up, told us to get out, tussled with him, and they shot him and killed him. When asked if Smith had a gun on him, Jordan said he never knew his little brother to carry a gun. Becoming emotional, Jordan explains he still has unanswered questions about what happened. Why did y'all shoot him? Jordan asked. Y'all got tasers. Use those tasers. Why did y'all have to kill him? Jordan told this to Channel 7. He and another passenger have been charged with possession of a firearm. Monday afternoon, Smith's mother said she still has not been able to see her son's body. All right, I was made aware of this story because I follow Sean King. We follow each other on Twitter, and I want to thank Sean King for posting about this story. I noticed it didn't get a lot of retweets. Not a lot of love from the so-called progressive community. And I think that's a damn shame, but I'm not surprised. You know, this is the 32nd murder this year by cops. This is the 32nd person. Charles Smith Jr. is the 32nd person in 2018. And you know today is just the 10th who has been killed by police. There are countries that will go all year and not surpass that number. When we bring these issues up, people say, oh, America's different. We special. America's so special. We have a certain type of people in America that requires a lot of them to get shot by cops because we have so much freedom. That's what it is. We are so free in America that, yeah, what do you expect? Of course, we're going to have to kill cops going to have to kill a lot of people. I would like to see the body camera footage. Not that I'm saying it'll get us a prosecution. I would just like to know exactly what happened. Because according to Charles or CJ's story, Jordan's story, doesn't sound like a whole lot happened. It makes sense. You got 3 officers on top of one person, and you keep saying stop moving. What could he possibly do to you? Folks, it's at this point it becomes sort of redundant, but we should never forget our sense of outrage to what happens with law enforcement, how our law enforcement moves to lethal force so often, so easily. And I think that we have to continue. I must continue to cover these stories because I couldn't live with myself if I didn't cover these stories. What do I expect to happen? Same as always. But it does leave a very bitter taste in the mouth when you realize and you have to accept that those people that you think are allies just don't value your life as much as you do. And it's not that my counterparts, my colleagues, they're not talking about important stuff. They are. But I think it's just as important. Man, if you're not talking about this, I know in Little Rock, Arkansas right now, there's a whole community of people who think this is a very important issue. And to many young people all across the country who become aware of this story, it means something that we covered and that we do everything that we can. All media does is put pressure. Look at the pressure that was put on the New Jersey prison that did not allow the new Jim Crow to be put into the library, right? So I saw that story. I think Sean King wrote that story. I did a video. He put his stuff out. I'm not saying I have the reach of Sean King, but I know that due to the groundswell of people that contacted that prison, they put that book back in place. I wish it worked so easily with bringing officers to justice who shoot young 17-year-olds because, they were afraid for their lives. If it requires 3 cops to shoot a 17-year-old 3 times at a traffic stop for busted taillight, I don't know. I think we need new cops. We need a new system. My condolences to the family of CJ, of Charles Smith Jr., and I wish there was more I could tell you. But I will continue to speak on these issues, and I know that there are people who are on the ground in Little Rock who are fighting to get this case, to get a case brought on this issue and to get more information. So I'll leave it at that. All right, guys. It's tough. That's tough. Somehow people want to make it seem like 32 deaths, 32 individuals murdered, killed by police is a regular thing, and that's not a cause for alarm at all. Nothing to see here. No big deal. Just people. No big deal. All right, so let's go on. Let's move on. Let's plow through here. Let's go to Black Panther. Let's try to change the tenor of the show a little bit, man. It's just so depressing. I feel so powerless to get the word out here about these types of stories sometimes. It really eats at me. I'm sure that many of you feel the same way. And then we switch to this. We switch to Black Panther becomes Fandango's top early pre-seller among Marvel movies. And this is it goes Black Panther. Now, I don't know if you've heard about this movie, but it's kind of a big deal. Folks. Advanced sales for Disney/Marvel's Black Panther has set a new record for Fandango. Now, Fandango is the site you go to where you buy tickets to go to movies. You can pre-order them. It's the top seller among Marvel Cinematic Universe movies in the first 24 hours, topping Captain America: Civil War. Look for that. Told you it was a big deal, right? Sales launched Monday night after a national spot aired during the telecast of the College Football Playoff National Championship. Chadwick Boseman stars as T'Challa, who takes over as the king of Wakanda after the father, T'Challa, is killed, as shown in Captain America: Civil War. The film also stars Angela Bassett's Ramonda, Forrest Whitaker as Zuri, and Michael B. Jordan as Eric Killmonger. So this movie's kind of set up. It's teed up, so to speak, to be a smash because you got such star power. Such star power. You know, the myth is that people won't go see our movies because there's too many black people in them. You know, and the other myth is, well, you know, we don't do well overseas, which I think is total garbage because Wu-Tang Clan is still selling. All our black hip-hop stars are still killing it. People from my era, like Wu-Tang Clan and all these guys still perform, man, even people before my era. You know, they're still performing all across the world. But they love to say, and it's repeated often, so often, to the point where people think it's true, that for some reason, black people, Latino people, Asians, Native Americans aren't like the rest of the people on the globe who enjoy watching black people as long as it's a good story. And this is an excellent story. Now, the film doesn't open until February 16th. Black Panther is riding an incredible wave of momentum right now, said Fandango editor Eric Davis. It's one of the biggest and most anticipated movies to ever open in the month of February. And its trailers have electrified the internet. Tickets have been going faster ever since pre-sale started on Fandango late Monday. Fandango said a survey of more than 8,000 moviegoers showed that Black Panther was voted as one of the year's top 2 most anticipated movies, ranking second to Disney Marvel's Avengers Infinity War, which includes many of the Black Panther characters. And Boseman was voted as the most anticipated comic book hero in a standalone movie. Give it up for that. So, this is a great movie. It appears to be a movie that's going to get a lot of push. People are buzzing about it. You can't make people be excited about a movie. You know how hard it is to get people excited about something in this day and age with all of the stimulation we get from apps to video games to cable to streaming services such as Netflix, Hulu. Like, it's so much. Everything's fighting for attention. Podcast, me, all of us want your attention. You know how hard it is to crack through that shit? It requires you to have a good product. It requires you to actually do your job of entertaining and engrossing the viewers. And that's what this movie does. Now, there is something I heard about this movie that I thought I was not going to cover it because I thought it was so petty. And you know, it's like, why do I want to talk about this, right? Now, you guys know Michael Jordan, right? It is his name, Michael Jordan, right? Okay. I always called him Wallace, all right? That's Wallace to me. I watched The Wire. That is Wallace grown up and working out and stuff, okay? Wallace in Black Panther. People were saying, now, there was this conversation being had that certain people said they weren't going to go see the movie because Michael B. Jordan be dating white women. And look, I understand how some people may feel this way because there's a long history of discrimination. Black women face a lot of hurdles in our society. It is a white-dominated society, and then you have, it's a male-dominated society. Anyone who disputes that is just like not in tune with what America is built on and how it works, okay? So you don't understand that, you need to do some research. So I understand. People be upset about that. They could be upset about that if they looked at it that way. But, you know, I also look at it like this. Kill yourself. Yeah, I got to say, maybe you just need to kill yourself. Now, I don't mean literally kill yourself, but like put yourself in a coma for a week or just take the month off. I don't know. Look. We have bigger challenges to face than what this man does or who he dates. All right? According to him, he dates whoever he wants to date, and sometimes black, sometimes white, sometimes Latino, sometimes Asian, whatever. Who cares? That has nothing to do with the quality of the film or the theme of the film. Has nothing to do with anything. I wouldn't have a problem with people being pissed off about this alleged, because I see no proof of any of the stuff you're talking about. But I would have no problem with it. I'm trying to fight this cold. I had no problem with you complaining about Michael Jordan, B. Jordan's choice of dating partners if you would and say, okay, well, I don't like what he does or whatever. I'm going to go support these other people who I like what they do. But see, that's the thing. You support no one. Okay? There's no reason to boycott a movie because you don't like who this guy dates. Boycott the movie because you don't like who this guy rapes. Or boycott this movie because you don't like who this guy throws under the bus or sexual assaults or I don't know. But who he dates? Come on. Like if we could, and look, I understand. I'm staying longer on this than I needed to, than I wanted to. I'll just end it with this. Fight for what you want to see. Don't fight against what you don't like. You know, fight just as strongly to support stuff you like, that you appreciate, that you respect, that you admire. Don't spend all your energy crapping on what you don't like, because it serves no purpose. Go spend that money on a movie by someone that you admire. Don't try to destroy the film because of something such that I see, and this is just my opinion, that's definitely not a major issue. This is a movie that shows black folks in a positive light. It's a movie that's doing well, that has a majority black characters, roles, and it's also well done. What else do you want? Give it up for that. And yes, I know there's a lot more to want. You might want black directors. You might want black editors. You might want black executive producers. I understand you might want all that. But that's not a reason to destroy this movie or to destroy this actor. And no, I don't know him, and none of that. This is how I feel. Okay. Gosh, man. I tell you. You gotta save the fire for the real fights. It's not a fight. Oh, he dated a white girl. So what? All right. Let's move on to voting. You know, people always say, well, not always. Some people, no one always. So let me clarify by saying some people have been known to say that our votes don't count. They love to tweet that. They love to post that on Facebook. Our votes don't count. And they're right. Sometimes they don't. But they're also wrong, because if votes didn't count at all, why would the GOP do such a bang-up job on trying to stop us from voting? You can't have it both ways. If you say votes don't matter, why are people going through all the effort to shut down votes? I'm just saying. All right, so here goes the clip. Let me get Mike off here, man. Making me know. I already know I need to work out, man. I don't need to look at you.
Easier to purge the voting rolls. Many more states will try to.
Now check this out. Now this is from the ACLU, and this is about a court case that's going on right now in the Supreme Court, which may allow Ohio voter purge policy. Okay, so check this out. It's only a couple minutes, but I need you to get on board and to be aware of what's happening.
This case in Ohio has national ramifications because if the Supreme Court sides with the state of Ohio and makes it easier to purge the voting rolls, many more states will try to do this kind of thing in the future. And people will have done nothing wrong, and they'll show up to vote, and they'll find that they're suddenly not on the voting rolls, and they won't have any recourse to do anything about it. And that's a very frightening scenario to me. Ohio has purged more voters, 2 million voters, than any other state since 2011. And what Ohio is doing now is they're removing infrequent voters. So if you sit out a few elections, you're purged from the voting rolls. Ohio has made voting a use it or lose it right. And that's not supposed to be how it works.
If you don't vote during a 2-year period, Ohio assumes that you may have moved to another county and become ineligible to vote in your county. So it sends you a notice. I'm sure everyone opens every piece of mail that they get from the State Board of Elections. If you don't do anything, if you don't return that notice, and you don't vote during the next 2 federal election cycles, you get purged from the rolls. So basically, if you sit out one midterm election, which more than half of registered voters typically do, because our turnout is so low, and you don't do anything else, you get purged. You have to, if you miss one midterm election, take affirmative steps to stay on the rolls in Ohio. What does that mean? It means that lots of eligible voters who've never moved get knocked off from the rolls just because they don't return mail from the state or the county elections boards. We won this case last year in the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Sixth Circuit. As a result, there were about 7,500 people in the state of Ohio who voted in November, whose right to vote was preserved by that ruling. If we hadn't won that case, these voters who had been purged under this process would have been disenfranchised and their ballots would have gone uncounted. Ohio doesn't dispute that any of these voters were eligible to vote, that they lived at their old address in their old county, and yet it still just didn't want to count their votes. We're now going to the Supreme Court to defend that ruling.
All right. Booing is right. Do you look at the extent of the treachery of the fuckery, have you, that they go to try to stop you from voting? Listen, divided Supreme Court may allow voter purge policy. Ohio is one of 7 states, along with Georgia, Montana, Oklahoma, Oregon, Pennsylvania, and West Virginia, that erase infrequent voters from the registration files. According to the plaintiffs, they called Ohio's policy the most aggressive. So Ohio's not the only one who's doing this. You don't vote in a while? Must not live here anymore. Because we all know everyone votes in everything. Get it? I'm sure you do. Registered voters in Ohio who do not vote for 2 years are sent registration confirmation notices. If they do not respond and do not vote over the subsequent 4 years, they are purged. The Supreme Court's ruling, due by the end of June, could affect the ability to vote for thousands of people ahead of November's congressional elections. The outcome is particularly important for so-called battleground states like Ohio that often have an outsized influence in presidential elections. Now, Sotomayor, Chief Justice, said the policy could further disenfranchise people who find it more difficult to vote, including minorities and the homeless. Now, what else did she say? She suggested it was unreasonable to use non-voting as a trigger for the voter purge process, saying people have a right not to vote if they choose, and then they have a right to vote when they choose. You could say, hey, I don't care about who's running right now. I can't choose between Trump and Hillary. I ain't voting. But you may want to vote locally. You may want to vote in the midterms. Or in 2020, you may say, hey, okay, I care now. It's no longer the super predator lady.
Called super predators.
It's no longer the super predator lady. And it's no longer, everything's great, everything's fine. And they feel like, I want to get back involved in the process. And then they'll go down there to vote, and they can't. It's that simple. Now, they go on to say, the plaintiffs represented by liberal advocacy groups, Demos and American Civil Liberties Union, ACLU, said purging has become a powerful tool for voter suppression. A 2016 Reuters analysis found roughly twice the rate of voter purging in Democratic-leaning neighborhoods. Let me reread that, okay? Because there are people who believe, hey, they're just trying to protect the right to vote for all of us. Everyone, they just want to make sure that voting is done legally and there's no voter fraud. We're not talking about voter fraud, we're talking about election fraud. To me, this is election fraud. But here's the point. A 2016 Reuters analysis found roughly twice the rate of voter purging in Democratic-leaning neighborhoods in Ohio's 3 largest counties as in Republican-leaning neighborhoods. It's targeted. It's targeted, y'all. The numbers don't lie. What Jay-Z say? Women lie, men lie, numbers don't. Now, numbers can be fudged. They can give you a distorted view depending on how they're presented, but they don't lie unless they're wrong. These numbers are right. If you focus this so-called worry of, I don't know, people who are not in the state who are now voting, first, it's outlandish to imagine that there are so many people who are sent notices, right, who don't respond to notices, who just left. You're like, where'd they go? Where'd they go? Maybe they just threw your mail in the trash. Maybe people don't like junk mail. Maybe that's what the mail looks like. Maybe it looks like junk mail. Why? So they're assuming there's going to be droves of people who are going to come up because now you have moved out of Ohio, right? You moved. That's their idea. You moved out, and now here comes Tim Black who wants to pretend to be you. He wants to pretend to be you, so he's going to show up and vote in your place. That's their logic. That is garbage. There's only like 1 or 2 cases of that. That's not the problem. Look, hold on. Let's give them that. Let's give them the idea. Let's give them that. Let's say maybe you're right. Okay, maybe you're right. Why aren't you concerned about that in Republican-leaning counties? Why is it that in the Democratic counties, you're twice as likely to purge people than you are in your Republican counties? Shouldn't the purge be like across the board? I mean, shouldn't it? It should be. It should be. Yeah, I know that it's like, monotonous. It's a little tedious for me to have to go through that because we all know what's going on. We recognize what they're trying to do is suppress black voters, suppress the black vote from getting out because it has too much influence. That's why I tell people, that's why I'm always suspect when I hear people say, don't vote, don't vote, don't vote. I always wonder, like, are you getting paid to say that? Is somebody cutting you a check? Who's hitting up your PayPal? Like, because I know, like, have you looked at the data to see that they have been instituting policy to limit votes? You say don't vote, it sounds like you may be getting paid by the people who try to suppress the vote. I mean, that's what that sounds like to me.
Look, man, I ain't falling for no banana in my tailpipe.
Could be. All right. Arguing for the plaintiffs, Smith, who is Smith, says, according to one estimate, which can lead to a large number of people targeted for removal who should not be. The plaintiffs in the Ohio case include Larry Harmon, a software engineer and U.S. Navy veteran who was blocked from voting in 2015 marijuana initiative in an advocacy group for homeless people. That's another thing about this that's so horrible and despicable, Phil. The people who need the most for the government to work are the actual people they want to disenfranchise the most. It's dirty dog scumbaggery at its finest. I don't know what else to tell you. It's garbage, all right? It's dumpster. Ohio's policy would have barred more than 7,500 voters from casting a ballot in the 2016 election had the Cincinnati-based 6th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals not ruled against the state. Only half of America votes. It's much less than that. That's general election. It's much less than that when it comes to local elections, midterm elections. Gosh. So we're talking about the potential for many, many people to be thrown off voter rolls. I want to challenge those people who say don't vote. I want to challenge them to give explanations for why. Give explanations for why. Because if you're not 100% sure that it has no effect, that it will be no use at all, then you are jeopardizing the very people who you say you champion for. Because these people who live in these communities, they need representation. it's a requirement, man. That's too important for you to just get up on a mic and say because you think it's something a certain group wants to hear you say because it gets you likes or retweets or shares or whatever it gets you, or speaking engagements to that limited group. But there are people who have to live in those communities, have to live in Ohio, who have to live with that sheriff, who have to live with that representative, who have to live with that circuit court judge, that have to live with that governance that's horrible, that they didn't vote for, partially because of you. So it's horrible, guys. It's horrible. It's horrible. All right, before we move on, I want to remind everybody that this show is not brought to you by any political party. And that's kind of obvious because if it was, I wouldn't be able to talk so freely about Democrats and Republicans. I wouldn't be able to just call it like I said if that was the case. So in order for this to continue going, what it needs is more input from you. So become a member of Team Black, which is Tim Black, TimBlackTV.com. Become a member, and whatever you can afford to do is what you do. I'm not asking anybody to do anything above and beyond what they can afford to do. Okay, so you go to TimBlackTV.com, you'll find a place, you'll find a link. If you go there, if you go to my website, you'll find out where to go to become a member and do something monthly to keep the show going. You know, if you want something to speak for you, you have to put your weight in it. That's just how this works. And if not, if we allow things that we value to be controlled by other entities, is never going to be strong. It's always going to be watered down. I can't talk this way at CNN. I can't talk this way at MSNBC. I can't talk this way at Fox. I can't talk this way anywhere controlled by the establishment. The only place where we can tell it like it is, let the chips fall where they may, keep it 100, is if we do it ourselves. And that's why it's so important. So thank you, guys. Thank you. And for those people who already did it, thank you. I appreciate y'all. Much love to you. Happy New Year to you. Happy New Year to everybody, but a special Happy New Year to the people that support this show who value it. All right. Now I'd like to move on to something else because, frankly, it must be talked about. This must be discussed. It is, where is my Donald Trump? See, Donald Trump recently, he sent out a tweet. Here we go. He sent out this tweet. It says, African American unemployment is the lowest ever recorded in our country. The Hispanic unemployment rate dropped a full point in the last year and is close to be the lowest in recorded history. Dems did nothing for you but get your vote. Never forget, at Fox and Friends. So, as you can see, this got a lot of retweets. We're talking 33,000 retweets, 126,000 likes. Now, when I saw this tweet, I'm like, okay, is this true? Is this accurate? Is he just, what is Donald Trump talking about? All right. So then after that, I went and I saw this clip. If I could get it to play. There we go.
Unemployment is at a 17-year low, and I'm very proud of this. African American unemployment reached its lowest level in history. Think of that. And on the campaign trail, remember I said, and would constantly say, what do you have to lose? Meaning, what do you have to lose if you vote for Trump? And now, it was just reported, African American unemployment is at its lowest level in history. I'm very proud of that.
Okay, and now look, we can give a clap for that. We can give a clap for that. You know why we can? You know why? Because we haven't disproved it yet. We will clap for it because if it's true, then it's a good thing. Remember, this show, like I stated just a couple minutes ago, this show is not about bashing Republicans or bashing Democrats. It's about keeping it real, being honest, doing the research, looking at the data, talking about the reality of the situation, and then standing on it like grown-ups, standing on it like people with pride, standing on it with ethics. So, is Donald Trump right? Are we at the lowest unemployment rate in the history of unemployment rates? Well, according to factcheck.org, Trump is right. The African-American unemployment hit a record low in December. The unemployment rate for Black Americans is currently 6.8%. The lowest level recorded since the government started keeping track in January 1972. That is true. He's also right about the Hispanic unemployment rate. It's down a point over the last year. It was 4.9% in December. Well, back in December 2016, it was 5.9%. Unemployment, not employment, unemployment. Okay? But, if you read Trump's tweet, and if you look at what he just said, if you listen to what he just said, he gives you the impression that he has something to do with that. Yeah, he wants you to think, if it wasn't for him, you'd be nowhere. Yeah, I've been in office for a year, and I made all this happen. Wasn't for me. Where would you blacks be if it wasn't for good old Trump? Trump over here. Well, here's the reality. Presidents don't impact job creation growth that much. They don't impact unemployment rates. Not to the extent to which Donald Trump wants credit for it. All right? It's just not reality. In fact, there are so many other factors that come into play. Government doesn't create that many jobs in order to, in fact, GOP is about limiting government. They want to close programs. They want to close arms of the government. Okay? So what kind of jobs is the president directly creating? Not that many. All right? Not that many. So it says here, so Trump is trying to make a political point, one that has been made before, seeming to tell minorities that they should support him more than they do, but then the president has a decidedly uneasy relationship with black folks. Well, we know that he does have an uneasy relationship, and you're right. I feel, based on my opinion, this is my opinion, I feel that Donald Trump wants to make more inroads with blacks, with the black vote. Not just because he wants to be cool with black people or Latino people, but because he wants black votes. Remember, 2020 is coming. See, people say, oh, Trump's not a politician. He is now. He became one, okay? He wasn't one. Now he is. He would probably like to leave on a high note. He would probably like to get a second term, okay? So, yeah, if he can cut into the black vote, that will help him. Look, and I have no problem with him cutting into the black vote if he actually helped black folks. How about that? There you go. There you go. How about that? See, that's how I look at it. That's why I'm not going to be on Joy Reid's show. You ain't going to see me over there. Because I say support those who support you. There that is. I know it's crazy, right? Support those that support you. That's a crazy idea. Those liberals feel like you should support people who don't support you. Did you know that there are more, they were making a big deal. This is off topic, but I want to get to it real quick. They're making a big deal of Doug Jones out in Alabama making a black man his chief of staff. He was the first, Doug Jones, who just came into office, who just won that special election against Roy Moore. He hired a black chief of staff. Everybody's like, oh, yeah, oh, this is great. This is great. Okay. Then when I found out while doing that investigation on that issue, I found out Republicans already have black chiefs of staff. See, that's something that won't be discussed on the Joy Reid show, on the Don Lemon show, or all these other shows. They ain't gonna talk about that. So I'm for supporting those whose policies support you. Not in words, deeds. Deeds, getting stuff done. And if Trump was getting stuff done for black folks, well then, fair is fair, you should get more black vote. But if you're not, then you shouldn't get more black vote. That's sort of how it works for all other groups, right? Ain't that how it works? Like Latinos vote the party that's doing the most for them, and the LGBTQ community vote for those that do the most for them, and white people tend to vote for who does the most for them. Sometimes, I mean, depending on your economic level, that may change. But anyway, back to Donald Trump. For some reason, they don't want us to do what everybody else does, which is what's in their own best interest. We're going to change that shit, though. I'm going to help change that. Until they come get me, I'm going to help change that. I don't need claps for that. It's just what I'm going to do. All right. One of the things that Trump is doing. No. Let me give you this factoid, okay? Okay, so Trump says, well, you blacks, I told you had nothing to lose with me, and now you are winning with me, and these Democrats just want your vote, but you win with me. Here's the deal. Trump has not been creating more jobs than Obama. Uh-oh. No, he hasn't. He just says he has. Listen. By the jobs numbers themselves, it doesn't look like he has changed much there. In fact, the average job creation in Trump's first year is slightly lower than it's been in prior years. Employers added 171,000 new jobs each month on average under Trump. That's in 2017. In 2016, the figure was 187,000 jobs average per month. That was under Obama. Get it? Under Trump, 171. Under Obama, 187,000 jobs. And in 2015, it was 226,000. But see, Trump isn't talking about job creation. Trump talking about the number of people who are unemployed. Now, here's the trick about that. Back under Obama, I heard a lot of conversation about the same thing. Obama was taking credit for low unemployment numbers. So I started doing research. I tuned out my liberal friends who weren't interested in getting to the bottom of that. And I ignored those people who said, I hate myself, I hate black people, I wanna, go against Obama. I said, screw y'all, I'm gonna look up, do my own research. I found out that when they talk about unemployment, it's not a great science. Here's how it's done. Once you stop getting unemployment, you're not counted as unemployed anymore. Unemployment only focuses on people who are getting unemployment. If you no longer get unemployment, you don't count. So follow me. If Trump is creating less jobs, I just cited the numbers. 171,000 jobs per month. 2016, we were at 187,000. 2015, we were at 226,000. So he's creating less jobs, but the unemployment numbers are going down, right? Doesn't that sound to you like it's just less people looking for work? Or doesn't it sound to you like just less people who are out of the workspace? More people trying to start businesses like your brother Tim Black. More people just falling off unemployment going, okay, well, time to do Uber. Time to Uber. Like, that's not a job. Jobs have benefits. Jobs, they let you get sick. Jobs have vacations. Good jobs, too. Right? Come on, guys. Come on. You know, Donald Trump wants to take credit for things he hasn't done. No president should take credit for job creation unless they do something that actually creates jobs. And there is something that Donald Trump could do that could create jobs. Yeah, it's something he could do. He could put together an infrastructure program. An infrastructure program will create jobs. That's right. Now, why, Tim? Why is the infrastructure program the best route for a president to create jobs? Because you can't ship infrastructure jobs overseas. That's why. No matter if labor's cheaper in China, you can't be in China and work on a bridge in Watts. You can't be in Mexico and work on a railroad in Louisiana. They haven't come up with a way to do that yet. So infrastructure jobs require people, what we call boots on the ground. Boots on the ground are required. And that's the only way that I can see Donald Trump actually adding to job growth. And Obama talked about it too. But here's the problem. Everybody wants to fight about it. Obama kept talking about improving our infrastructure. Remember that? I don't know if you remember. Obama talked the same thing. We want to put together an infrastructure package that will bring people back to work. We're going to create these green jobs. We're going to rebuild our infrastructure. We're going to rebuild our infrastructure. Now Trump's talking about it. We're going to rebuild our infrastructure. Problem is, it's a fight. It's a fight. While they talk about we need to get Trump out of office, meanwhile, the Republicans control the Senate and the House and the executive branch. If they can get an infrastructure package together, while they still have the majority, I would actually support that. Because I know that will put more jobs for people who need them. It will actually create jobs in local communities because the infrastructure, now the fight will be what infrastructure are you going to be tackling? Where is it going to be most affected? Won't you start in more distressed communities first and then work your way out? Okay, these are all thoughts. But you get my point. That's why I would support it. Now, a person who doesn't know any of the things I just shared with you would probably say, oh, you want to support Trump, and not understand at all that infrastructure jobs, the only jobs I know won't be shipped overseas, can't be done via telephone, online, by some operator in India. And now you know it too. Though I know some people knew it, but now you know it too for sure if you paid attention. So that's important to me. I hope it's important to you. Donald Trump, I'm not saying he's done nothing because he could have done things, I guess, theoretically that would help, that would hurt job growth, that would hurt, people trying to return to work. I don't know if he's done that. Now, there is one last thing about the job issue with Trump, and I think it's important for you to know. Donald Trump's stocks, okay, is that it? Is it the one about the stocks? Something else about jobs. Oh, God, it's just slipped my mind. I think it is, when Trump talks about stocks, he talks about the Dow Jones. He talks about, yeah, we're doing so great. Everything's great. It's great. And we're raising all this money and people are investing. The reality is that may be true, but it's the people at the top. It's the people at the top who have the money to buy stocks. People in the middle and people on the bottom, not so much. So he's touting about successes for his friends. He's not touting about successes for you and I. That's a problem. Also, his tax cuts are great for the people on the top. And yes, 50%, it was like Yahoo did a poll of businesses. And they asked them, would they be willing to create jobs based on this new tax plan? The tax plan does favor corporations. It's not even a secret. I don't know why Fox keeps lying to you. The new tax plan does favor corporations. They think that if they give the corporations tax breaks, that they will just go create jobs. But there is no mandate in the tax plan. You can't mandate that a corporation, just because it saves money, it then takes it and spends it on employees. They could take that money and buy yachts. They could take that money and go to Libya and buy people. They could take that money and do anything they want to do with it. They could take that money, ship it overseas, hide it in those shell corporations or whatever they want to do. You understand? There is no mandate that just because you get a freaking tax cut that you're going to then turn around and spend that money. That's the whole GOP plan, is that for some reason people will be so moved. These corporations will be so moved that they'll save so much money that they'll say, well, let's go hire 5 more people, or let's go hire 500 more people. There is no obligation for them to do that. And that's the truth, Ruth. And what I just said about Libyans, I know that's disgusting, right? But it's true. They are selling people in Libya, and it's not just Libya. We got actual slavery going on in this world. Actual slavery. All right, guys, that's it. I wish I had more for you, but I think that puts a nice little bow on today's discussion. Remember, guys, if you have story ideas, if you have topics that you think need to be addressed, and I'm missing them, and I'm not seeing it, remember, I'm just a one-man show. So I need your help. And one way that you help is that you send me your story ideas, your suggestions to tim@timblacktv.com. tim@timblacktv.com. And I will consider it to put it in the show. Also, if you have something that you're working on that you think the community wants to hear about, that you think needs more exposure through the black community, send that as well to tim@timblacktv.com, because I do Tim's Blacklist. I do that on Fridays. So do that. Also, if you disagree with something, or if you do agree and you want to sound off about it, you can upload a video of 2 minutes or less to YouTube and send me the link, and I may include it in the broadcast. It's called Talk Back to Tim Black. Yeah, see, I brand things. I think it's important. And, this is how you grow. That's it, guys. I appreciate you coming out. You didn't actually come out, but I appreciate you tuning in. I hope you shared this on your social media. Hope you let some friends know and let some enemies know, too, because maybe they're an enemy because they don't know what's going on in this world, and they're just angry. They don't know that, there are things we could do, like we need to get out in Ohio and get these people out to vote. We need to make more people vote, not less people vote. All right? And we need to not be worried about who Michael B. Jordan is dating. Be worried about the message in the movie. Be worried about, is this a good movie? Is it positive or is it negative? And is it something that our young people need to see or not? That's important. And also, Trump, unemployment numbers, he's doing the same thing Obama did, trying to make himself look better, and he really got no point in that. He's trying to take credit for something he hasn't really done. And if he wants something to take credit for, won't he actually do something like get that infrastructure program in place, because that is a job that can't be shipped away. I'll see you on the next one, guys. tim@timblacktv.com. Send your mail and become a member of Team Black. Peace. Woo.
Unemployment is at a 17-year low. And I'm very proud of this. African American unemployment reached its lowest level in history.
Yeah. See, no one has balls. No one has the balls to say the real deal. Black word today.
Just y'all is the one and